Welcome to the Border Chronicles weekly Roundup live video, and this is our final Roundup and video for 2025. We're going to take a break here at the Border Chronicle and be back with you in January. And so the Border Chronicle weekly Roundup is where we recap the work that we did at the Border Chronicle for the week, and then we also talk about notable news from across the border region. And on Tuesday, we had a piece at the Border Chronicle by Miles Traphagen. And Miles is based in Tucson, and he's the Borderlands program coordinator for the nonprofit Wildlands Network. And his piece was on the border wall construction that's happening in the San Rafael Valley in southern Arizona. And he has very, very disturbing footage of a mountain, part of the Coronado National Monument, being dynamited to create gravel to build the border wall in the San Rafael Valley. And I know, Todd, you've been there many times, the San Rafael Valley. It's really beautiful. It's a pristine prairie. You were there for a rally in May. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the San Rafael Valley and just how important it is.
Yeah, it's super important. I've looked at the San Rafael Valley a number of times over the years. One in one of my books where I go down to a place along the border on the Mexican side where they're doing a water harvesting project, and the sort of riparian area that it is, and the grasslands, and it's a wildlife corridor, and all this Miles makes quite clear in his piece. I thought his piece really eloquently described the San Rafael Valley on the piece that we published on Tuesday. In fact, as I was reading just the beginning of it, because he goes into the drought, and the droughts, the mega drought, I would say. We're in a multi-decade at this point mega drought, and Miles, describes that, and then and he describes it very vividly, and
Mhm.
in the way that you can see vividly what the San Rafael Valley is, and then you can see the grasslands drying, and then juxtaposes it against this building of this border wall that we're seeing. And Melissa, it makes me think of like what if an extraterrestrial, or somebody like an archaeologist or an anthropologist from 500 years from now came back to this time. And I always think of it, I don't know why my burst to think of things this way, but this they come back and see this drought, right? We're in this era of the climate changing, right? And this
Mhm.
drought, and they go, and I cannot just see them, what are they doing? Like, why are they using millions of gallons of water to build this? As Miles describes, I guess it's going to be not only one wall, but like a double wall.
A double wall. Yeah.
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 Um, and it just seems like, I mean, on one hand, it's so absurd, but on the other, it's beyond absurd, right? It seems criminal to me, It seems a criminal in a number of different degrees. So that's, I mean, I just kind of put my experience with the Rafael Valley along with what Miles is describing, and he's so on the ground and there almost on a probably on a weekly basis. I'm not sure what his schedule is,
Mm.
but you can see his intimacy with the landscape there.
Yeah, I mean, for many years, he's been documenting the impact of border wall construction on wildlife and the environment along the border, and uh, and his piece really shows that sort of deep knowledge and context of the construction's impact on the ecosystem. Um, And, all of this is allowed because of the Patriot Act and these, exemptions and waivers that
The
were
Real
made.
ID Act.
Yeah, the
Real ID.
Real ID Act for the construction of the border wall. So the administration can blast away at a national monument to create gravel to build a wall through a place where people don't really cross. That's the thing. It's not a place that receives much um, human interaction. I mean, Sky Island Alliance, it's another nonprofit, environmental nonprofit. They have a lot of wildlife cameras down there, which Miles also notes in his piece. And so they're able to see who's coming through, and there's almost no people coming through there. The only people they typically see are border patrol or, hunters. Uh, so it's all, it's just a very important wildlife corridor, and then also river corridor too.
Yeah, the Santa Cruz.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. If folks watching the video haven't checked out Miles' piece, you should read it. It's also got, gosh, this footage of the dynamiting of the national monument, which is really just insane. Um, to create the gravel for the wall, which is nuts. Um, so you know, we also took a look back at 2025, since this is our last roundup for the year. And well, the good news is in 2025, for the first time at the Border Chronicle, we were able to bring two more reporters on. So obviously, Todd and I, we founded the Border Chronicle in 2021, and it's just been you and I, right, for years, just chugging away. Um, and we were finally able to bring on Carolyn Tracy and Pablo de la Rosa. And Pablo is based in South Texas, which is great because we cover the entire border. So it's really important for us to have people in communities along the border reporting from, different parts of the border. So we did post a fundraising piece on Wednesday because we want to keep Caroline and Pablo for 2026, because now that we have them, we don't want to lose them, and we want to provide more coverage and more in-depth, context analysis and coverage from different parts of the border, so that we truly are like a region-wide publication. So if folks watching aren't already paid subscribers, we'd really appreciate if you would become one,
We
because yeah.
Yeah, we want to get a Southern California reporters. All right, we want to be, we want to be able to expand our horizons just a little bit. So yeah, thanks for helping out.
Yeah. Yeah. Our goal is to have somebody in the San Diego, Tijuana area too, because I will admit that we need more California, Baja coverage. I think we've managed to hold down Texas and Arizona and a little bit of New Mexico, but we need that California Baja connection. So hopefully in 2026, we're gonna,
We'll see.
double our revenue and
Yeah.
double our staff. So anyway, there'll be a link on how to do that in the roundup right after, which I'll publish right after our video. Um, and let's talk about your piece on Thursday, because you did a reflection, Todd. Um, really a
Yeah.
retrospective of 2025, and I'm wondering, what to you was there anything surprising in 2025? I mean, did you expect it would be, well, as terrible as it is? What is different from the first Trump administration on the border?
Yeah. Well, first, I just to say a couple words about the reflection piece I did for yesterday. It was like a photo essay with
Mhm.
some text in it. Um, I was in that piece, and this has been a lot of my own. And this is coming more from a personal standpoint this year. I really took it from there's a book published at the end of last year by Robin Wall Kimmerer, um, that it's called The Serviceberry, and I think the subtitle is Abundance and Reciprocity. Jeez, I can't. But the whole point of The Serviceberry is the Kimmerer wrote this. as the elections, even before the elections, even before we knew the results of the elections, because her point was, that what was needed was a new, regardless of who won, and on we can definitely like it matters who wins, but her point was regardless of who wins, we need a new vision, and
Mhm.
and this vision of well, the more I read into it, it's a very short, small book. It's a slim volume. It's a quick read, but I recommend it to people. And I found it very inspiring to look at the border, even though she doesn't really mention the border that much. I find it inspiring to look at the border via the kind of things that she writes in the book, because she writes about a world where everyone can flourish, and
Mm.
it was basically from that point of view, this in a world of when you think about it, everyone can flourish, a world where, like, one of the photos, and the title of the piece, "Re-envision a world without division," which
Yeah.
actually came from the San Rafael Valley, from a binational border gathering that was there
Think it was
in
May,
May,
wasn't it?
late May. Yeah,
Yeah,
late
yeah,
May.
yeah.
Yeah, and like that whole idea of we're all in this together, and a whole different mentality, like a world of being generous with each other and
Mhm.
uplifting each other. And so, like, I really came into this piece with that sort of, you know very basic premise, looking at the border and trying to, like, when we think about the border, and especially, and Melissa, as you were saying, as we consider what has happened this year, what has happened, and the very first, like, piece that I did this year was walking along the border during
Yeah,
the day of the inauguration, right? And
right.
really, like, meditating upon that, and then thinking about, I mean, wow, this year and what I was expecting, I was kind of expecting a repeat of 2017. I realized, maybe, I don't know if I was totally expecting that. I guess might have thought there was differences, but I realized that was maybe a naive way of thinking about it, and that what we've seen has been much more, right?
Mhm.
Like this, different ways that this Trump administration number two is going about things is quite startling. And I mean, we can talk about it in multiple different ways, and we've covered a lot of it on the border, like the national defense areas. For example, that was one of our bits of New Mexico reporting, and Southern Texas reporting, and West
Mhm.
Texas reporting, but also the migration of the border patrol into the interior in this kind of
Yeah.
massive way. I know, Melissa, you've been working a lot on that, uh, those issues, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's really interesting to see how the sort of propaganda techniques and the framing of people seeking protection as an invasion, all of that was really tested during the Biden administration on the border, in border communities, especially in Texas, where Governor Abbott is really like, to the right of Trump. Like, he's gone full MAGA beyond, with Operation Lone Star, and just deploying all these police and military to the border in Texas and spending billions and billions and billions of dollars. So it's very interesting to see this all deployed into the interior of the United States, and to see it play out in places like Chicago, where people are like, wait a minute, they're lying, and they're presenting this imagery online of, like, they're, the border patrol agents are under siege, and so all this propaganda and, really gaslighting from the federal government, which unfortunately we're very used to at the border. So I'm very interested in how communities at the border that have had to deal with this can help the interior, right? And I did do a piece on that, talking to various people up and down the border who have been very vocal and organized
Mhm.
against that kind of propaganda and disinformation, and what kind of information could they provide to people in the interior, what kind of advice on how to deal with that. Um yeah, because the border's been like the MAGA Hollywood backlot for all of their, like, I call it discontent creation, you know,
Yeah.
for the last 4 years. Well, and you wrote a whole book, Border Patrol Nation. I mean,
Mm.
you've kind of been warning about this for many, many years, about how rogue these guys are in DHS, Border Patrol and ICE, and really a lack of oversight and just a ton of money. I mean, are you
And they
surprised?
expand. No, I mean, th I'm not actually. I
Yeah.
mean, that's and the total expansion away from the border, which has been going on now, I mean, now in really, accelerated ways, but it's been going on for quite a while, and this
Mhm.
this, I remember, interviewing people in 2012 and 2011 talking about these extra constitutional powers, of the border patrol, talking about how they're confined in the 100-mile zones, but we're seeing now that those confinements might not exist as much anymore. There's a definite breach of whatever it was that we thought was a 100-mile zone, and that we talked about quite a bit. It's a gigantic
Yeah.
territory, 200 million people, two-thirds of the population of the United States, and it looks like it's this movement into the interior, and it's in a lot of ways it's an expansion of what this is. I remember interviewing somebody saying, this we got a she said, "We got a national security police." That's how she described it.
Mhm.
But in the sense that what is national security, and what sort of powers above and beyond, the Fourth Amendment, for example, the exemption of the Fourth Amendment seems to be on the table at this point. So, yeah, I don't know, it's very concerning, and to see what's happening, and also, unfortunately, it was predictable.
Yeah, I mean, you and I have done a lot of, reporting on this over the years about how Congress has just been unwilling to check, Border Patrol, or ICE, and give them more oversight and sort of rein them in. So this whole system was just primed to go, you know, full bore like it is now, where we have, Greg Bovino's calls himself what? The roving commander of Border Patrol, and he's in North Carolina now, with his little army.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, yeah, it was like a monster that's been built up since 9/11, that without any kind of oversight, and Congress just hasn't been willing to deal with it.
Yeah, I don't do anything.
Yeah, yeah. So, I was looking back at our predictions for 2025, and I think we're like Nostradamus. I predicted billionaires double down on weaponizing the information space, which they've done, right? Billionaires are buying up social media platforms. They're, you know, taking over newspapers. They're definitely dominating, like, what's left of the mainstream news and social media platforms, and really trying to shape the narrative uh, on behalf of, more authoritarianism, and
Mhm.
um, yeah, and the booming border chaos industry.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, now we have a lot of drones. Drones is becoming a big thing at the border. Um, More surveillance towers.
I usually do a piece in January, and I guess I probably will this year, where I look at the everything from 2000. I'll look at everything from 2025, like go over, see like the contracts, the amount of contracts. I suspect, like what you're saying about the booming border chaos industry. I suspect we're gonna find some pretty elevated numbers, but we'll see.
Yeah, and that is where, politicians and industry always portray the border as being this chaotic place that's in need of, like, more enforcement, more, surveillance towers, more walls, because it's just a huge, like, circular money maker. They just
Mhm.
make more and more and more money. So, yeah, I'm sure when you do your assessment, the funding is just gonna keep going up, up, up,
Yeah,
up,
and then
right?
with the what is it? The BB what's the acronym for that? bill that passed. There's so many B's in it. It's like the
Oh,
B
the
B
big
B B.
beautiful bill?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The
Yeah.
BBB. I heard somebody use an acronym for it, and they used it with me.
Oh,
They used it with me like I knew what they were talking about. I went, "What is that?" They're like, "Oh, the big B." Oh, sorry. Yeah, I said no. That's yeah. But yeah, with that additional funding, what is $175 billion over 4 years? I'm curious to see how that injects into the budget in the 2026. So all that stuff you'll expect from us,
yeah,
looking
and
into it.
it was interesting when you did your report during the Biden administration, because actually the Biden administration has spent more on the border than the first Trump
Yeah,
administration.
a lot
Just
more, like
yeah,
$12 billion more. So I
yeah,
expect this Trump administration to surpass that. That's what I'm anticipating that, but I'm not sure yet.
just showing that this border industrial complex, it keeps going up, up, up no matter who's in office.
Yeah.
It just never stops.
And people were super excited at the Border Security Expo this year. There were
Yeah,
lots of rousing standing ovations for the likes of Kristi Noem and Thomas Homan and different people in the Trump administration. So I think the expectations are high.
they're excited for their bottom lines.
Hmm.
Great. The other issue was water. We write a lot about water because it doesn't get paid enough attention to. This uh, humongous drought, as we were talking about with
Yeah.
the San Rafael, and the less and less water in the Rio Grande, the Rio Conchos. And I know obviously you've been working on a book about this.
Hmm.
This is going to continue to be a major issue in 2026, especially as they renegotiate the USMCA, what used to
And
be
then
called NAFTA. Um, I'm sure that Trump is going to bring in, the water issues just to make it more contentious and more volatile, I imagine.
yeah, it's absolutely going to happen. That's what's going to happen. The water is going to be a big part of the NAFTA too, or whatever what's it, MCA? What is it? USMCA?
USMCA.
Yeah. All
I
those
know it's hard to
acronyms.
remember.
But it's not only it's Trump and like all the Texas legislators,
Mhm.
everyone's clamoring for um the next water cycle is about to start. We just ended. What I mean by water cycle, there's a 1944 treaty. And Mexico has to deliver something like 325 million acre feet of water each year to the United States. And what the United States,
Mhm.
especially Texas, is wanting is that that's done on a yearly basis instead of in 5-year cycles, just because what they say is that Mexico under delivers. And again, that's what is going on right now as we end the year. And so you have more and more pressure and now this pressure is being funneled into the USMCA. I strongly think that this is going to be a part of that. Given and you have to think of this in the context of a massive, major, mega drought, where the
Yeah,
Rio Conchos, which is what the conduit through which water is delivered to the United States through this treaty, which needs to be looked at too, is from
yeah,
1944.
right.
Um, it That conduit is dry and its headwaters are dry. I was in there. I went to the headwaters. I've been going to the Rio Conchos for the last 4 years.
Yeah.
It's a river that's struggling, right? And so that sort of context of drought. We'll talk a lot about that this coming year as well. But that there's this sort of context there that water is an issue. Like as this year, it will be one next year too.
Yeah, and we just featured a photo essay from a photographer, Eduardo Talamantes from Chihuahua, and, looking at that river basin, and it's very startling. It's just bone dry. It's pretty scary, actually.
Yeah.
Gladwin is asking, is The State of Water by Obi Kaufman worth reading? Are you
Hmm.
familiar with that book?
No, I will look into that book, but thanks for bringing it up.
Yeah, yeah, The State of Water. I'm not aware of that book either, so definitely check it out. Sorry, we can't give you more
The
context on that.
the book Borderland, Border Water by CJ Alvarez. I strongly recommend that one if you want to combine border and the river, especially the river and the straightening of the Rio Grande, and
Mm.
and the different water issues and the dams like the Amistad and the Falcon dams, and learning about the water systems and border construction. It's a super insightful book. I strongly recommend it.
Yeah, say the title again, just in case people missed it.
Border land, border water, and the author is C.J. Alvarez.
DJ Alvarez. Okay, that's really good to know.
Mhm.
All right. Well, I think that we pretty much finished our roundup, and I'll post our written roundup right after this with this video for folks to watch if they didn't catch us live. Um, so we really hope everybody has a good holiday, restful holiday, as restful as you can. Don't don't look at the news, but look at the Border Chronicle.
What's yeah, the stuff that we published earlier. Because
Yeah.
I don't think we'll be back. We'll be back with you on January 6th, I believe.
Yeah, we'll be back on January 6th, and we have, Pablo in South Texas and Caroline, who's gonna be doing arts and culture and environmental reporting for us in 2026, so we're super excited about that, and Pablo's just been doing really wonderful work from South Texas. So yeah, if you all have not become a paid subscriber yet to the Border Chronicle, we would greatly appreciate it because all of that goes back into the reporting and to trying to expand our staff. As we said, we still need somebody in San Diego, Tijuana. That's the next.
That's this year. That's going to happen this year. I can feel it.
Yeah,
I can
yeah.
feel it in the air.
Yeah, yeah. So have a good weekend, everybody, and have happy holidays, and we'll see you in January.
Yeah, happy holidays, everyone.
All
Take
right.
care.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.